Josie back on tour. She's a champion again. Yeah! The legend. Here's Shannon O'Keefe. Yeah! Incredible. What a moment for Shannon O'Keefe.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the PWBA Greater Harrisburg Open. We're here at ABC West Lanes in Mechanicsburg, PA. And this is the round of 12. Got obviously Missy Parkin and Shannon O'Keefe here in front of us right now. Also got two other featured pairs. This game will have Josie Barnes and Liz Culkin. And Danielle McEwen and Laura Plazas.
A reminder to our bowling fans that flash photography and the signing of autographs is strictly prohibited during competition. In addition, we kindly ask that you silence those cell phones to prevent any distractions to the athletes. This week, the field of play is the tiled area, and that belongs to the athletes and authorized personnel only. Please do not enter the field of play for any reason. We also have an exclusive agreement with PBA and Extra Frame for the live streaming of this PWBA event. Please do not live stream from your personal devices. All right, bowling fans, pick out your favorite pro, cheer her on. Athletes, arrows are up. You have a full set of pins. How about a great send-off for our top 12 of the PWBA Greater Harrisburg Open. Good luck, ladies.
Neil Milligan sending us off, Aaron Smith.
Yeah, buddy.
We're off and running.
And just a reminder for everyone at home, just like the rest of the standard events, this is even though there's only two players in the pair, not match play, just still going for total pinfall for 30 total games over 2 days. That seems like a lot of bowling, by the way. That makes their performances even more impressive in person, thinking about that part of it. But we have totals through 24 games, 16 yesterday, 5 this morning. And 6 more games will determine the top 4 for the stepladder final tonight at 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on Bowl TV on Extra Frame. And the only person with any kind of distance between them and anyone else is our tournament leader, Jordan Richard, the PWBA Tour rookie from Tipton, Michigan, plus a 547 through 24 games. More than 70 pins ahead of Lindsay Boomer, who's in second. She was our leader after one at plus 473, and then it gets pretty tight all the way to the top 12 spots. Just had Boomershine 473 over, McEwen plus 452, Maria Jose Rodriguez 443 over, Shannon O'Keefe plus 439, Josie Barnes plus 415, Liz Culkin plus 411, Missy Parkin plus 409, Brianna Cote plus 406, Laura Plazas plus 390, last week's winner Aaron McCarthy plus 380, and Shannon Salem plus 370. So from 2nd to 12th, 100 pins between all those folks. 103 if we're getting technical, but
that's pretty crazy. Anything can happen with that spread.
So of course, if you want to follow along on the other pairs outside of our featured pairs, we have live scoring available by visiting pwba.com/live. So you can follow what's left of the house. We've from 46 lanes down to just about 5 or 6 pairs now.
Yeah, 12 lanes. 1 bowler for each pair.
Whoa.
6 pairs. That means everybody in the field hits each pair once. that was actually part of the rationale behind the format.
I like it.
Pure fairness.
Pure fairness. Well, let's see if 29 and 30 continues to give people trouble. So that pair didn't play so nice throughout the last round. It's a perfectly fine pair. They just didn't bowl well on it. So.
Yeah, let's get over there and have a look. Boy, Danielle McEwen, I mean, if you watched the first round, you would have thought, well, she's going to miss the cut this week. And now she's third.
Playing pretty direct there, too. So. As we talked about earlier, this 39-foot pattern is someone pushed players a little bit further left of the track to start. And we saw some folks even get into fifth arrow towards the end of our last block. Probably won't see that this. Less people on a pair, less games. They're familiar with the pattern. They know the pattern. Now it's about making shots.
Well, I think as they continue to keep redressing the lanes, it plays probably in Danielle's favor because she's, simpler, a little straighter. She likes the ball bouncing off the back a little more than the other players do. But I mean, we're talking fractions at this level, really, in terms of advantage.
It'll definitely be fun to watch the roller coaster of that standings. Let's take a look at Laura Plaza's here.
But I do like the fact that the last 16 games, Danielle has, she's made up so many pins on the field the last 16 that you'd think, well, she's got it figured out now. She's just going to keep making up ground. Mm-hmm. And there's not a lot of ground left to be made up for her.
Yeah, she's gone 450, one of her 452 over in the last 16 games. So.
Right.
It was only +1 after the first block, but short memory. For a young player like Jordan Richard, who's built up a lead heading into this final 6-game block, I would like to see U.S. Amateur Championship Jordan Richard come out at the gates this first game when she shot 280 to essentially come back, a title she had come close to 2 years before to win, and was unable to get the job done in 2016, kicked off for 2018 with a big win at the U.S. Amateur, and did so in dominating fashion too. And I would be impressed to see her come out of the gates and just fire a shot just like that. 260. That's asking a lot, I guess. But
yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. She just seems like she can do anything.
Nice shot there from Missy. +409. As we mentioned, these players very close. Colkin and Barnes, 411 and 415 over, respectively. I have to say, last week's stepladder final was one of the few times I've ever potentially seen Danielle McEwen just look lost. And definitely, with the way the past few weeks have been going, expected her to make a run at that title.
Yeah.
And she definitely shook off that slow round to start. been strong ever since. Culkin did what she needed to do in her final 2 games to solidify her spot here in the round of 12. 230s in game 23, and did just enough at the end to secure that spot in the top 12. We saw Rocio Restrepo and Kelly Kulik fall out of the cut number of that final game, as Shannon Salem and Laura Plazas, here's Laura, fired big games to get into the number. I feel you almost, and you know, you talk to people, they, you know, some people say they watch, some people don't, scoreboards, but when it's this close, how important are those blinders of just not focusing on anything but your own game here?
I mean, yeah, I always liked watching the scoreboard personally. You know, you need to know what you need. In my opinion, you need to know what you need so that you can understand what risks you have to take. I mean, that's really what bowling in this format is about. You know, you're trying. It's a race. You know, you got to see it as, you know, I need to be the one to push the number where I need it to go. And if you've ever bowled in a situation like this and you've had the whole field chasing you, you know, you feel like it's a race. You know, if you're leading, you know, you feel like everybody's chasing you. And whereas, you know, you wouldn't think that way. It doesn't seem like it would work that way because you're just trying to put up a score, but really you're trying to put up the score first. And that's what it feels like when you're out there competing. And it gets more intense as the competition goes on. You know, as you pare down these fields to the top 12, these are the ones that bowled the best all week. And not that there's any time of the tournament that you're not trying, but you know, the first day is really kind of a marathon, and you're just coasting. You're trying not to expend too much energy. You're obviously trying to bowl well, but you're also trying not to shoot yourself out of the tournament. But here, this is when you start to see the players take the maximum risk. This is when, and that's also when you see the players shoot the big scores. And they're so good that, you know, you shoot 250 and you think, oh, I'm going to pick up some ground, and you look up and all the other players have shot 250 as well. So it's pretty intense.
Charn Richard off to a strong start over on 25 and 26. Spare 6-bagger. Once again, our tournament leader, 547 on the right side of plus. After 24, Lindsay Boomer started with the front 5. She was in second. Left a 10-pin in the 6th. She missed that, however. McEwen looking to bounce back after split in the 6th frame. Missy for 5. Nice shot there. Just at the pace that you're clicking from shot to shot, Mr. Thomas. Makes me wonder even more how, obviously a lot's happening here, but how do you feel the players handle the change of pace from going to something to where, you know, you can kind of sit back and breathe between shots and kind of go at your own pace to all of a sudden it's almost rapid fire for this round to where
it's I mean, you have to be used to it. You know, that's the thing. I know. I remember I bowled a league a while back, and I was used to bowling this 5-player league, and you know, I was high average in the bowling center, and I was just accustomed to that pace. And then we bowled a doubles league over the summer, and you never got to sit down, and it really threw me off. So there's definitely something to bowling at this pace. In this situation, you know, you ask a bowler if they're bowling poorly, what does that feel like? And I think a lot of them would tell you, well, it feels like it's going too fast. You know, you can't slow the situation down. And so, you know, if you get in trouble in this format, you've got to make sure that you're thinking through all of your adjustments. You can't just be going through the motions, because, you know, pretty quickly you can shoot a couple of 160s and shoot yourself out of the tournament.
So you're saying for a lot of these players, they are prepared with move 2, 3, 4, 5. Once look 1 is either A, not there anymore, or B, ready to, you know, you see, you know, a good shot, leave a 4-pin, you know, 4-9, something like that. You're already 2 steps ahead of that thought process, knowing you've seen the pattern, you've seen the house enough to where, all right, I know my move at this time is either, you know, ball down, stay in the same thing, make a 3-1, whatever it may be for a particular
well,
player.
you know, look, I mean, these players have an infinite number of possibilities that they can try, right? I mean, they're just so talented. And the thing is, though, when you're starting to go in the wrong direction, you've got to have the presence of mind and the courage to just be able to slow the pace down. And sometimes, you know, that offends other players. You know, the other players say, hey, why are you slowing it down? You're playing mind games. Hey, what's going on? But you got to bowl at your pace so that, you know, when you have those moments of being lost, you weather the storm. And then when you're bowling well, you bowl fast, because you don't need to think about it. Norm Duke is a master at slowing the pace down and speeding it up based on how he's bowling. And a lot of people, you know, accuse him of, hey, this is gamesmanship and this isn't fair and you're not, and he doesn't care, you know. And by the way, it isn't gamesmanship. It's just him understanding what he needs to do to get the most out of any moment. And I think that's the trick to it.
Taking a look at live scoring, Shannon Salem finishes with 236, our last player in, so she's above plus 400 now. Jordan Richard has a chance to get to 268. Those are some of the quicker pairs. Let's get a hustle. Does not get the 10 out for Missy to kick off the 10th. 238 out there. Two players definitely making statement games here out in the early going. Jordan Richard and Lindsay Boomer shine. I mean, the 250s and 260s, respectively, they were the top two in the standings. As McEwen gets it back on track in the 9th. He can max out 200 even.
Well, you said that was a tricky pair. You know, I didn't notice that yesterday, but I wasn't. It's different in qualifying with 5 on a pair. And you know, you don't know the quality of the group on the pair. But you know, here, if you see a trend on a pair, it's usually because of the pair.
Some tough games here on 35 and 36 as well out of the gates. Josie Barnes looking to get to 181. Liz back-to-back opens for 186. Laura gives that one the business. Is Shannon already thinking ahead, wearing her TV Day jersey?
Yeah, she's that's confidence, man. It's like the Tiger Woods Red Sunday outfit.
Purple Saturdays.
Oh, that looked good. That thing jumped a lot.
So both Liz and Josie are going to fall below plus 400. This is going to jump into 447. O'Keefe's going to be 455. Laura's going to give back a few pins. Danielle can salvage 200 still. It's craziness, Jason Thomas. It goes by so quick.
Yeah, I always like to compare it to a game of Mario Kart. Have you ever played Mario Kart?
It's been a while, but
yeah.
yes.
Yeah. It's, you know, fast and crazy, and you're leading, and then all of a sudden this big giant bug comes out of the air and squashes you, and then 3 people pass you, and then you get back on the road and get a mushroom and fly past everybody again, and then they hit you with the turtle shell, and it seems like that's what this is.
Those are specific details. Perhaps from a traumatic experience once. But we always hear about that on TV, you know, especially with players making their first appearance, about how fast those 10 frames go. And,
yeah.
And just to kind of, like I said, I'm just sitting back here. You know, this is my standard event debut with the new format, so I'm trying to take it in and enjoy it, and kind of enjoy the process as well, because I've certainly watched plenty of bowling over the years. But yes, I kind of invigorated by this pace. This is
well, yeah. I mean, it's just interesting the pacing of the whole event. You know, the first day, it's almost like glacial, as slow as qualifying goes, and then you know it picks up a little bit in the morning on that round of 32. I mean, that probably felt like it went by pretty quickly.
It did for 8 games, absolutely.
And then this just is going to blink by, and then you're down to the stepladder where it's a 1-game match. So, I mean, yeah, it's interesting how the pace quickens as the tournament goes.
180 for McEwen. She'll drop to plus 432, plus 374 for Laura Plazas. Former standout at Wichita State. Looks like only one pair still going for Game 1, Brianna Cote and Maria Jose Rodriguez. Both of those players finding some struggles here. Rodriguez can get to 193. Cote max of 188. And we talked about that one before.
Yeah. The old solid 9.
She was not working on a string of strikes there, so it softens the blow a little bit.
Yeah, she threw
still.
1 strike that game. She started with a strike and then all spares and 1 open.
That is fighting the good fight.
Yeah. And, you know, that's with 10 minutes of practice on the pair.
Well, that'll be interesting to follow because Maria, as we mentioned, she left a 10th in her second shot, going to be in the 180s. 29 and 30, relatively low scoring that first game. 35 and 36, we could say the same. Pair of 180 games, so.
Yeah, there were a few pairs that struggled.
But we've also kind of, or at least in the short run so far, we've seen a lot of bounce back in those situations where quickly seen 180 go to 240.
Yeah.
So could be pair sensitive, could be just equipment selection, maybe not the start. Potentially even execution. Cannot let those little mishaps sneak in there.
Shannon's playing way out to the right.
So we had Missy crossover and Shannon missed the headpin right on 29 and 30 to start. Here is our tournament leader, plus 604, Jordan Richard. He's built nearly a 100 pin lead over Lindsay Boomer now, who's at 518 over. Now we have some separation at the top of the standings, updated here on site.
Yeah, she's gotten to the point where she's almost locked herself into the show. So now, just stay aggressive.
Perhaps a little too aggressive there. 3, 4, 6, 7 in the second, but Boomer Shine got out of the gates with the 240 game. Interesting because she had built up a pretty big lead on the field after yesterday's 16 games and just never really got going in that 8-game block this morning. Just kind of worked her way with a few 2-0s, had a 259 in Game 7, but other than that, nothing too crazy from Lindsay. Off to a strong start here.
Yeah, she had a similar run a couple weeks back when she made the show. She led and, you know, kind of held her ground on the final day and dropped one spot, but you know, still made it to the show. It's hard to lead. I mean, you know, there's always going to be somebody that comes out of the woodwork and whacks them. and they do play different day to day. So it's really hard to put it all together for a whole week. You know, you back in the days of urethane, you know, you could kind of, you know, say the shot was on the gutter, you could play the gutter the whole tournament, whereas now you can never play, you know, one part of the lane for the whole tournament. You've got to have a lot of versatility, and you know, not every player is perfectly well-rounded. You know, there's going to be times when they're going to get their pins, and there's going to be times when they're just trying to, you know, hold their ground.
There's very few instances of the 617 pin leads that we saw at the U.S. Open this past year in Syracuse.
And that was mostly because he threw urethane and he could play out the whole week. I mean, that's really what happened there. And we're talking about Jacob Buttriff.
Had a nice week, finishing second in Lubbock.
Yeah, that was I mean, that's about as close as you can come to winning.
Tough way to lose, but still a nice week for that young man.
He's been having a lot of nice weeks
I
in
would
the last
say
few
so.
years. And he's an interesting guy because, you know, a lot of people, when he came out and he had some success, people were like, well, he's just a fluke. You know, he's got this goofy game and it's never going to last. And it's like, okay, well, what are you going to say about it now? He's actually putting together, you know, the start of a Hall of Fame level career. You know, he stays out there a few more years and keeps doing what he's doing. And nobody's going to be able to say that about him anymore. I mean, they shouldn't even be saying it now.
Agreed. Shan made a big jump left there. Make a ball change too, and nearly got it back. 2 pins. No harm done.
Well, Jordan Richard off camera has gone open, so just run into a little trouble on her pair.
Better shot. Better result. Not the best result, but
yeah, better than a big four.
I'll take it.
Well, Ann McCarthy not done yet. She just set 69 pins back of fifth place. She's 84 pins back of fourth, so she's still easily doable.
Yeah, that's just it'll be fun by the time we get to game 30. It's going to be,
especially if 12th is still within 80 pins of the
exactly.
Oh man, good shot.
So Shannon Salem had moved up from 12th to 7th in just one game. With she had, I'm gonna say only had 230.
Yeah, that, I mean, yeah, not the biggest score in the
nothing
world.
too crazy. So yeah, that's just the continued testament of how close this is. Nice 2 shots there from Missy.
Yeah, Lindsay just not comfortable on that lane.
Nice shot there from Jordan Richard on 34. Seemed to corrected the woes that plagued her in the 2nd and the 3rd frame. Another 10-pin on 33. Looked like that one was a little bit wider mixed him, but
yeah,
I get the 10.
Sometimes when you move to a new pair after game 1, you realize, you think, okay, I've broken this pair down. I can miss a little left. I can miss a little right. And then you get to the next pair, and they've broken them down a little differently, and you can't miss left anymore. And I think she probably learned in the 2nd and 3rd frame, hey, I can't miss in on this pair. And so, the last couple shots, she's made sure she's gotten the ball right. It's just constantly picking up information and figuring out what you can and can't get away with, and then you adjust your physical game accordingly.
And of course, a few extra set of eyes back here as well. Ball reps and coaches just keeping an eye on things. I'm sure they have notes compiled for kind of from start to start. Obviously, players have different games, different things they'd like to see out there on the fresh and in practice, and how they kind of massage that first pair compared to how other people would like to do it. Obviously, Jordan with a higher rev rate's going to be a little bit further left than someone like Missy, or we see Shannon O'Keefe playing fairly direct to start as well. So
yeah, definitely.
So managing that information around around our 6 pairs. Driving the bus. Turning the big wheel. And taking a look at live scoring, Shannon Salem's really only player striking, or with a string of strikes at the moment, so a lot of spares up there. You don't want to see that. 7-10 from Jordan Richard on 34. Back-to-back 10 pins for McCarthy. trouble for O'Keefe. So JT, if you're one of these gentlemen to our left right now, and your tournament leader is 99 in the 7th, as she looks to make her first stepladder final with 4.5 games to go, what are you telling her right now?
Well, I think it's all just about the lane play. It's just about solving the problems in front of you. It's not, you can't get ahead of yourself and be thinking about that. You got to be thinking about, how do I solve this pair in front of me? So I think you have to stick with that.
She will convert the 310 though, so shake off a few rough frames there. Definitely a rough break in the 7th with the 710. Here's Selen's going for 5 in a row. That one to hustle back did. So did not cooperate this time though. Problem on the spare. About 710. So in second place, Lindsay Boomer Shine. Looking at the same thing here in her 8th frame. Let's go back to our tournament leader here. 9th frame for her. Looks like a ball change and a bucket. McCarthy has bowled well this game. The pins, as of late though, not agreeing with her. always a fun spare to shoot at, but no problem there for Jordan in the 9th. She can max out at 165 with 3 strikes in the 10th. Uh-oh. Rough game going for O'Keefe. Similar situation, can get to 165, gets the first hit in the 10th. Game 2 proving tricky here. Round of 12, ABC West Lanes. Good news is for these players struggling here, this is their potential last time on these particular lanes, for at least for this block. 33 and 34 will be our TV pair for the stepladder finals tonight at 5 p.m. Eastern here on Extra Frame. So let's go there. Second shot of the 10th, Jordan Richard. Hoping to return to this pair one more time. It's pretty good. Messenger doesn't make it across though. He caves the 4-7-10 there. Let's look at the 215. O'Keefe finishes with 163. Shannon Salem's 238. Still out there.
Yeah, that's huge right now. There's some low scores around the building.
They've looked rough here in game 2.
I mean, she's going to go 230 and possibly go from 12th to the finals.
Just like that. I believe Shannon made a championship round appearance back in 2015, I want to say, as a non-member.
It's a good question. I believe you're correct. I don't recall for sure, though.
Doesn't get the second hit. Still has 226 out there with the conversion. So, yeah, she's going to be plus 432 just like that. Looking around, there are people around her who are going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, there's been a couple weeks when 12th didn't have a realistic chance to get to 4th in 6 games. And it's just the opposite this week. You know, everybody obviously having a chance to get there. As Shannon Salem is proving 2 games in, might have one of the spots.
Well, we saw that resilience at the Queens, tied for the final spot to double elimination match play bracket. Was able to hang on to the final spot. Probably not the performance she was hoping for, but it was enough to outlast Nina Flack from Sweden.
Yeah.
And from there, she put together a nice little run.
Yeah, yeah, she did. She's a great player. I mean, you know, she's got a regular job back at home and bowls a lot of local amateur events and wins a lot of money doing that, and just doesn't feel like she can bowl enough to justify joining. But man, every time she comes out here, it seems like she's in contention.
All right, that's gonna put the finishing touches here on game 26. I just made it say game 27.
It must be so because you changed the graphic.
Yes. All this terrifying new technology. Just gotta press buttons until it works.
It's working. It's working.
So let's see here. Looks like Maria and Brianna will be heading to 33 and 34. Looks like missing Shannon will be in front of us here on 35 and 36. That awkward moment when there's no bowling going on.
This is when Tennille Milligan starts to get the look in her eye and some fine slips out. Oh.
There it is.
There we go.
Thanks, Maria. Get scared after a while. Players do get to cross with the same competitor throughout the block, so if you're seeing double or recall seeing this episode before, that's why.
Yeah, there's no position round either, which is something a lot of the fans out there are used to seeing. The last game, the players get reshuffled into order of position, but they're just going to bowl. So really, anybody anywhere in the building will likely have a chance to make it into the top 4.
That's how we like it.
Makes us do math.
We don't like that part as much.
But you know, we have live scoring, which helps.
It does, and we can give Josh a second chance too.
Yes, got to redeem himself.
Still only 2 players better than 500 plus, even though they both went down that game, still in favorable positions. Jordan Richard plus 559, Lindsay Boomer plus 501, Missy Parkin plus 462, and there she is in 4th place, Shannon Salem, tied with Danielle McCune at plus 432 apiece. Maria Jose Rodriguez at plus 428. In 6th, Laura Plazas plus 419. Shannon O'Keefe plus 418. Brianna Cote plus 405. Liz Culkin plus 386. Josie Barnes plus 382. And Aaron McCarthy plus 368. So still 64 pins between 4th and 12th place. Nice start for Shannon, 3 for 3. Maria looking for an early double, just 4 pins out at the moment. Not gonna find the hold there. Oh, those have been popping up a little bit too much as of late. Parkin took the 1 on the 710. Come on. The hits for that 2-frame stretch not in Missy Parkin's favor. 2 pretty good shots and an open and a spare to show for it. There's Cote. Get it up the hill. Keith looking for the early 4-bagger, likes it, and for good reason. Double in the 4th and 5th for Maria. Looks like Brianna is going to step up next, so I'll keep the camera on her for her 5th frame. Has liked the right lane so far. Adds one more. Can she get dialed in on 33? All right, and in the midst of all this chaos here in the round of 12, we are going to bring in someone to reel everything in for us. Please welcome Sydney Brummett to Extra Frame. How you doing, Sydney?
Good, how are you?
Doing excellent. Thanks for joining us here. Round of 12. I'm not going to lie, this is my first time here at a standard event, so I'm trying to process all this, and it's moving fast and quick for me, so hopefully you can add some insight to what these players are experiencing as they try to make this top 4 right now.
Yeah, absolutely. The round of 12 goes really, really quickly. Last weekend, when we were in Louisville, there was, I believe, only 120 pins separating 12 from the show, and then looked going into this round, and I believe there was only 70 pins separating. So just about anybody has a chance, and it's awesome to watch. Makes for a good round.
Definitely has been exciting. The scoring pace has kind of fluctuated as well. We've seen some high scores. We've seen some folks kind of struggle from pair to pair as the transition kind of gets underway. So from your time out here this week, just kind of what did you see from pair to pair with this 39-foot pattern?
Yeah, pair to pair was really different, and it really depended on who started on that pair before you and what they did. So people who started out a little bit further to the right, they created a nice area to throw into, but some people started out further left, so you had to chase it left with them. If not, your ball wanted to see it a little early, and if you're seeing it too early, you would go through the face or flat pin, or your ball just wouldn't go through the pins very well. But pair to pair was very different, also just because of the topography in the center. So, for example, maybe 37-38, the left lane hooked more, but then you go the next pair and the right lane might hook more. So it was always an adventure the first few frames.
So it kept you on your toes.
Oh yeah.
Certainly sounds that way, and we've definitely seen players take different roads to get to the 1-3 here. Only right-handers left in the field, so we don't have to say the 1-2. But yeah, over the course of the season here, your rookie year, of course, obviously you became familiar with Nick Hoagland patterns throughout your days at Wichita State, and Nick always likes to make it fun and tricky. And kind of, what's your impression here on tour as far as kind of what he's trying to make the players do out here?
Well, it seems like every week is different. So in college bowling, it's pretty much always the same thing. Just get your ball rolling at the end of the pattern, and you would strike for the most part. But out here, it's been different every week. You know, there was one week where we really had to get the ball rolling. There was another week where we had to get around it a little more. So honestly, it just depends. I think he wants to challenge us and really see from week to week who can do different things and play different parts of the lane. And it's awesome. This week particularly, you could play all different parts of the lane and get to the 1-3. It's just who can get their ball picking up in the right part of the lane to go through the pins the right way.
And we've seen a fellow rookie of yours, Jordan Richard, find a way to do that quite well so far here. Still in first place. She hit a snag last game, shot 154, but still has built up enough of a lead throughout her previous 25 games so far. Still crazy to think about 25, 30 games in 2 days. That's a bunch, but
it's a lot.
As someone kind of out there as well and kind of experiencing the tour in the same way as a rookie. Kind of how do you guys all work together as far as, there's so many collegiate players out here, people you kind of got familiar with from, whether it's maybe even Team USA as well, Junior Team USA, and, folks who you would see in and out. Obviously, you have some Wichita State teammates here as well. Just kind of how's that camaraderie really bring everyone together when it's out here, whether it's a good week, bad week? Just what's it like kind of having this group of players to be able to work with?
Yeah, it's really nice. I'm kind of an outsider when it comes to the rookie class this year, just because a lot of the other girls were NCAA, and I didn't have the same amount of time spent with them that they did together. So I still like them, still get along with them, and we're all just really kind to each other because there's really no point in being mean.
I like that.
We're all very competitive, though. We know we want to beat each other, and I think that understanding makes it easy to just get along. But we all have some sort of teammates out here, whether that's within our brands. So whether it's with Storm, we all try and help each other the best that we can and try and get as many girls in those top positions as we can. But then there's also, our Team USA teammates, and I got to bowl with Shannon O'Keefe for the first 16 games, and it was nice really to just get to know her better and to bowl with her, and she was very supportive of me even when I wasn't bowling great, and we tried to just work together to figure it out, and it worked out in her favor this week. She's bowling great, so it's just awesome to have all those different kinds of teammates out here, and it's like a family. It really is.
I can definitely see that from, getting to talk to Emil, throughout the course of the week, and just obviously he enjoys the opportunity to be a part of the tour and check that out from week to week. But yeah, definitely. I mean, we get to see it at events here and there. Just really the camaraderie between everyone is a pretty cool aspect of it, and the fact that yes, there's obviously at the end of the week everyone wants the same goal of being able to hoist that trophy, but there's just so much support throughout this community right here that's really great and really refreshing too.
Yeah, absolutely, and we all have, our roommates too, that we stay with each weekend, and that camaraderie is like nothing else. I'm very appreciative for my roommate, Brandon Cote. She's phenomenal, and last week she didn't have the best round of 32, but she stayed and she was there. She was supporting me the whole time, and now I'm here getting to watch her hopefully make another show.
Let's take a look here at Brianna in her 10th frame. Gets the first hit, just enough up the hill.
That's all that matters.
That's
as long
all
as
you
they
need.
all fall down.
Absolutely. Bowling with Maria Jose Rodriguez, who can actually shoot 270 this game. So just another, as you mentioned, with how close everything is in the standings over to our right, that one big game can quickly shift the whole outlook of what this top four might look like later today.
Yeah, absolutely. But right above her we have Shannon Salem, who went spare through the first three and has the next five. So looks like she could shoot 250 as well. It'll be really interesting.
And for Shannon, she was the last player in. Ended up doing enough that last game, shot 220 to get to 370 over, and all of a sudden 3 games in or 2 games in basically, had moved all the way into the top 4. And
really anything can happen. The patterns change a lot from round to round is what we see. So that first round is drastically different than what we see now, especially because we started out the weekend with 5 on a pair, and now they only have 2.
so obviously that's the amount of traffic is going to affect it, but the more the patterns run, generally what do you end up seeing as far as, do they hook more, do they become tighter? Is there a certain trend you tend to see with that?
Kind of depends. So last week is a really good example. We had a pattern that only had forward oil, and forward oil tends to leave a lot of room for your ball to hook when you miss left. So over and after we re-oiled over and over again, we saw that there was no reverse even more. So I went to a cleaner and cleaner ball every block. So for instance, my first block I started with my Alpha Crux, and then the next block I started with my Codex, and then the next block I started with an Intense. So each block it just got a little cleaner. This weekend it seemed to get a little flatter, so we had to create a little bit sharper angle through the front to get some hold. But the balls we used were pretty similar. So it kind of just depends on the week and whatever Nick Hoagland decided to do to us.
Nick can be so mean from time to time.
On occasion. On occasion, but we appreciate the challenge.
That is a tough break there for Maria to kick off her 10th frame. They've been, those have been popping up a little bit more than we like to see. 7-10. Going from a chance to shoot 270, now it's going to be in the 230s, but improving that plus number, plus 464 now, Brianna at plus 429. Go to Shannon O'Keefe here on 36. Shannon, another player who had a rough second game, but has turned it around nicely here. Going to be in the 220s with this spare. No problem there.
Yeah, that's one thing about Shannon that I learned this week. She doesn't really miss a lot of spares, so it keeps her in the ball game when ball reaction's not the best. It was absolutely phenomenal to watch and shows you why she's out here making shows constantly, making cuts constantly.
So as we wait for her final shot here, we'll go over to 29 and 30 to see that pair finish up. Lindsay Boomer and Aaron McCarthy.
Yeah, it looks like Lindsay started out with a strike in the first and has spares through the next 6 with another flat 10. I'm not sure if it's that pair or what's going on.
We've seen some folks not like 29 and 30 very much today, so that's. And Jason had mentioned, yesterday really didn't catch anything with that, but it just seems like it's been causing some, I don't want to say struggles, but not a lot of cooperation going on there. But for someone like Lindsay, who, last game gave a few pins back to the field, not striking this game, and you just talked about the importance of spare shooting. She's still in the point where she can get to 2-0 this game. And those aren't all 9 counts up there from what it looks like, so taking care of some multi-pin conversions as well.
Yeah, out here you really can't give away pins to these ladies. They all throw it great and they make their spares. So if you leave a spare, make it. I've personally been working on just shifting my ball roll a little bit to split less, because going from having a 4-10 to shoot to just a 4-pin is about 10 pins a game. So anything you can do to get those extra pins out here is drastically important.
And another 10-pin. So Sydney, you are a recent collegiate graduate. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
How's post-college life treating you?
It's okay. I've had to learn to adult very quickly.
The adulting, yes.
I accepted a job and came out on tour and decided to move out on my own all in the same week.
Oh.
So it's been kind of crazy, but I'm really grateful to work for Wichita State University, and they allow me to come out here and bowl, and very grateful for that. And finally going to get all back moved into this apartment this weekend, or this week, I guess.
There
since
you
we have
go.
a week off, yeah. It's pretty exciting.
Yes, good old adulting.
Bree and I joke around. We say that she's my mom sometimes, but we take care of each other.
Well, that dynamic I feel is important, and we even have that on our end with as Aaron nearly leaves a 7-10 there. Goodness, but yeah, even on our side of the world, with Matt and Jason kind of having a few extra years on Emil and I, we kind of rely on them for certain things here and there, and we try to give that back when we can.
Absolutely, like the mentorship that happens out here is absolutely phenomenal. There are a few of the girls who have really taken a second to just talk to me, give me some words of advice, and I'm very, very grateful for those girls. They've helped me grow quickly.
Yeah, looks like this is the only pair still going here for game number 27.
I believe that Bree hit that pair earlier, and they were also the last pair done when she was bowling there, so I think it's just because people are not striking very much.
People are not striking
on that pair.
All those extra bonus shots.
To me, it looks like balls just aren't picking up as soon in the mid lane on that pair. So the ball doesn't want to go through the pins the right way, and instead of continuing through, it wants to deflect a little bit. Flat 10, or almost 7-10 like Aaron about did in the ninth.
Now for you, when you see something like that, what's the next step to eliminate that?
I'm going to slow down for sure. When I saw pairs that did that, I finally figured it out the second black. But when I saw pairs that did that, I would move a little bit left, slow down. But then when I move left, you got to get around it a little more to get the ball to finish through the pins. So move left and slow down, get around it. And it always tells too. You know, I was looking at the top of the leaderboard during our lunch break yesterday, and there's just a few of the girls who really like, you know, to kind of slow hook it. Erin's one of them. You know, Laura Plaza, Jordan Richard, Maria. They all kind of like to get around it, throw it to the right. So came in with a different game plan the second block and just didn't execute well enough, honestly, but it worked a lot better. And so looking at the top of those leaderboards, just kind of see the tendencies of the people who are bowling well makes a big difference.
Some great insight there, seeing or being able to see some similarities. I can say this word, similarities. There we go. And really be able to kind of work that into your own game. And we're going to have Laura joining us here on 35 and 36 for game 28. Your collegiate teammate at Wichita State?
Yes, for 3 years. We had some good times. Lots of inside jokes.
Well, I would certainly hope so after 3 years. But let's go move over to 35 and 6.
Las Vegas was always one of our favorite collegiate tournaments, and there was one time we had the night off. We had gotten done bowling early, and we were about to fly out the next day, so the coaches let us go out to dinner on the strip. So we go to the dinner, and she walks into Caesar's Palace, and she just yells, "Does Caesar really live here?" And it was the funniest thing.
Things I did not know about Laura Plazas. Hangover fan, all right. But that's one thing, you know, just in between some of the collegiate events and a few events out here is I feel she brings a real lively attitude to whatever group she's around. She's always smiling, always having a good time, always looks like she has a real positive outlook, whether she's shooting 150 or 250. But yeah, that's just from an observer, I'm sure being a teammate for 3 years, you can definitely add on to that a bit more.
Yeah, she was always a phenomenal teammate. I would want to be on a team with her any day. She'll give you her all every single time, and that's all you can ask for out of someone. My mom texted me and said they're watching Extra Frame in the car.
Uh-oh.
And they just left. probably like 20 minutes ago, and they're already on here.
I did see your dad earlier today. I didn't see your mom, though. I think we still have some of her Tupperware from the Hoosier this year that we have to return at some point. So
I would love to know all the places around the country that my mother has Tupperware. I believe Jordan Richard just made the 4.679.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Definitely a nice roar from the crowd afterwards.
Yeah, she's got a nice lead too. Makes it a little easier to make those splits and have that swing be really loose. It's always good.
Very, very true. And like we said, even after, oh, there we go. New update. Leading the way at plus 562. Lindsay Boomer plus 488. Missy Parkin, 478. Maria Jose Rodriguez moves into fourth at plus 464. Shannon Salem at 454. The first player out. So, but once again, looking, Aaron McCarthy is kind of falling back a little bit, but from 11th to 4th place, just 58 pins.
It's not a lot.
And from 11th to 2nd place, 82. So
anything can happen out here, especially with the difference between these pairs. It seems like just about every week we've had one pair in the group of the 6 pairs that we've bowled on that's just absolutely awful, to be honest. And it's interesting to see what happens when people hit those pairs, whether they overcome them and have been observing or fall victim to it again.
and I'm sure that's an important part of the process, and I know it's becoming more prevalent as far as note-taking going across the house. And are you a player that kind of follows that path, would you say? Or?
Yeah, for the most part. I keep a journal while we're bowling that just kind of tells me what I did on the pair, what I saw initially, and then when we get done with, I'm not a big phone user while I bowl. In fact, our rep, we had Del Ballard with us this week, and he texted me in the middle of a block. I had no idea. I was clueless. My phone is usually off in my backpack, so at the end of the block, I'll go in and create a spreadsheet of all the pairs in the bowling center, and then insert those notes, so I can come back to them if we bowl here again later, or if I make another round and hit that same pair, then I kind of already know what's going on.
Kids, I hope you were listening there. That was some good advice.
Yeah, we all had to kind of get used to not using our phones because they inserted a rule, I believe it was last year, at the US Open, we cannot use our phones whatsoever, so we had to, I know Bree went and bought like a little mini calculator, and it's a keychain on her backpack because she couldn't do math, so all of us had to get used to not having our cell phone on us.
Early double for Lindsay Boomer over on 33 and 34. Still holding on to second at plus 488. It's nearly a 7-10 for Danielle McCune on 35. Take a look at Josie Barnes on 29 and 30. She made a big move left compared to kind of where we've seen people starting off on this block. It seems like the angles have kind of tightened up a little bit to start, but sometimes Josie knows she needs to put together a few big games here.
You know you need them. Sometimes you just have to take a chance.
That's one thing Jason was talking about a lot is, you know, when scores are this tight, you know, I suggested that would you want to keep the blinders on and just kind of just focus on yourself, or, and he kind of mentioned, he's like, I would rather kind of know the scoring pace of everyone else, knowing, you know, do I need to find a 230 look? Do I need to find a, you know, pull out two 240s here? And I can appreciate that sentiment because, as we've seen throughout the course this week, that those scores can definitely get up there quickly.
Yeah, what's interesting about the women's tour in comparison to the men's tour is our cut numbers don't always go up. So on the men's tour, if you tend to watch the cut numbers, each game they tend to creep up a little bit, and every once in a while out here they'll just drop randomly. So for me, I put on blinders for the most part. I look at the scoring pace to kind of know, all right, am I in the right ballpark of what's going on? And then for me, it's just how well can I beat the lane condition? How lined up can I get? And from there, I just try and make the best shots that I can. Hope the scores add up to enough.
Terrible break for Laura here. As soon as you bring something up about you see you leave too much, then it continues to happen over and over. So I should not have mentioned that. Now, as a teammate of Laura's over the years, what do you admire most about what she can do out there on the lanes?
Laura has the skill to basically move as far left as she wants, and she'll hit it and she'll move left, and she can create some shape through the fronts that gets the ball to see the mid lane a little sooner. So her ball wants to see it a little earlier than other people's. So she can use cleaner balls that are a little quicker, and it helps her strike more when she hits her target, and it's awesome to watch. And I always joked around when we were at Wichita together and said that I wouldn't want her on someone else's team because she'd probably help the other team win. So I was always very happy to bowl with her when it came to that.
We do have just 3 games left to go here at the PWBA Greater Harrisburg Open before we know our top 4 for the step ladder finals. We are at ABC West Lanes in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. We are joined by Sydney Brummett, former collegiate standout at Wichita State and PWBA Rookie of the Year candidate. Now, Sydney, of course, obviously a little different than the collegiate environment coming out here. All of a sudden, it's an individual competition against the team. What's the biggest change for you in that aspect as far as coming out here? You know, obviously with college, you had the Baker format, you had the traditional 5-player games, you could, you know, rely on your teammates, and now it's all just on you. Just how has that transition been for you here in the first few events?
Yeah, I kind of went through a transition while I was at Wichita State as well. Those first few years, I really depended on my teammates. I just didn't throw it good enough when they needed me to, and it showed. And then the last few years, we kind of shifted our mentality as a program a little bit and just said, how good can we get, you know, individually, and how good can we get as a team, and how good can we throw it? So especially my senior year, I just tried to throw it as best as I could every single time. And that was nice because then when I came out on tour, it's basically the same mentality. How good can I throw it every single time? So there's not really a big change there. But it is different not having teammates. You know, at Wichita State, if I big forward and I threw it good, I had, you know, 6 or 7 girls to come back to say, wow, that was a great shot. We should move. And now I have to fight those demons in my head, you know, that say, was it you? Was it the lane? Was it the ball? What did you do? And so I've really had to learn to be my own teammate, basically, and say everything to myself that my teammates would say. And some weekends are harder than others. This weekend, I struggled a lot with that mentality. You know, I thought a lot, you know, it's me or it's the lane or it's the ball. And in reality, my thoughts were wrong. And it showed, you know, not making the cut this week. It was all mental in my brain. So I wrote about it a lot in that bowling journal I talked about and reflected on it. I have a friend who I call when my mental game is rough and talked through it with him. It's a different game plan for the US Open to hopefully keep my brain a little slower.
Of course, the U.S. Women's Open, the hope of getting 56 games in a week. Now, did you bowl last year at the U.S. Women's Open, or will this be your first one?
I have bowled 2 women's U.S.
Two
Open.
of them.
Yes,
All
I
right.
bowled in Chicago and then last year in Plano, Texas.
What are your big takeaways from those 2 events, looking forward to the trip to Orlando this year?
Yeah, so I bowled great at the Women's U.S. Open my first year. And then last year, it was a little bit more of a higher scoring pace. And my ball roll wasn't good enough to keep up with that scoring pace. I got 9 a lot more than I should have. So didn't make the cut last year. But the year before, I had just missed the round of 24. So my big goal this year is to just make match play. I really want to make match play at the U.S. Open. I love match play. I think that showed at the Queens. It's what I like to do. So for me, the U.S. Open is about staying patient. Liz Johnson has won it a lot, and I think from watching her the past 7 weeks, one thing she's really good at is staying patient.
Now, when you say stay patient, is that as far as just waiting for the right look, or waiting on kind of the opportunity to become aggressive and take advantage of a pattern or pair? Just kind of go a little bit further in depth than that.
Yeah, so being patient to me means just making a great shot over and over and over again, knowing that it will pay off. So every time you make a great shot, you're even closer to being lined up, even closer to having 4 or 5 in a row. And one thing that these women out here do so well that I've noticed is they may shoot 2-0, 2T in one game. They were all great shots. They'll go to the next pair. The next pair is really great, and they shoot 260 or 270 and take advantage of that pair, but they just stayed patient on the pair before. They didn't freak out because they weren't carrying or weren't, you know, scared that they weren't going to keep up because they shot 2-0 one game. No, they're just like, okay, bad pair, go to the next one. That's one thing that I just need to do a little bit better to be able to keep up.
Kind of keep that even keel throughout, as and like you mentioned it, that it's something you've seen out here, that there just happens, there's going to be bad pairs, and that's just part of the game with topography and all that, and being able to get the most out of or the most that you can out of a pair.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember hitting a really good pair the first block, and I believe Shannon shot 260 or 270 on that pair, and I split somewhere in the middle and only shot 220. And I was a little angry about it. My daddy said, "What's wrong?" I said, I shot 220 on a good pair, and I was really upset about it, but it happens. Gotta move on.
All right, we'll stay on 29 and 30 here for Liz's spare, and then move back to who's going to be up next. Aaron McCarthy. Let's see last week's winner.
interesting in these rounds of 12 is that the hook spots that we normally create in the earlier rounds aren't really there because there's not as many people. So shot makers' shots just have to be that much better. So I would bet the shot by Aaron earlier on in the weekend might have had a chance.
Mm-hmm. Now taking a look here at Lindsay Boomer Shine, one of your teammates on Storm.
Yes.
And it seems like Lindsay can really get it going from time to time, and I know she's been battling some injuries the past few years, and of course her and Hank had their son just a few years ago as well, so I don't think she's out here as much as some of the other players. But what impresses you about her game?
Lindsay just has this ability to honestly just go out there and grind it out. Is what I've seen the past few weeks. You know, right now in the last game that we saw, she doesn't have the best look. I know she's throwing the same ball that she's basically thrown the whole week. She's literally the definition of what we were just talking about, staying patient. She's just kind of waiting. She's throwing good shots. And she'll get to another pair, and you'll look over, and Lindsay will have the front eight. That's kind of how it seems.
All right, I'm going to be excited when that happens. We'll come back to that. And we'll told you. But yes, that's kind of been the day for her. It's been, you know, she built up a pretty big lead on the field after 16. It was about 80 pins, but obviously 14 games left to go. A lot can happen. But she really hasn't had too many lows. They've been steady, a lot of grinding, like you said, and just kind of finding the way to 190s, 2-0s when you're not having it.
Absolutely.
And just being able to, you know, pop a few 240s, 250s along the way. And still sitting in second place overall. It's getting a little tighter up there now. A few folks have gotten a little closer to her. But still where you want to be.
Yeah, it looks like Missy's pacing 167. She has 147 in the ninth. So that's going to make things a little bit more interesting at the top.
How do you know when you talked a lot about patience here, and just kind of when do you know that moment to go from patience to I need to put stomp my foot on the gas pedal?
For me, I never really know. And we always joked about it at Wichita State. The last about year and a half, the Coach L had me in the 5-hole or the anchor position. And we joked, I always wanted to know what I needed. And he would just say, just throw a good one. And I'd get really upset because I wanted to know. And so eventually, he started lying to me a little bit. And we were bowling the ISC, and it was the first round that I was bowling in 2017. And I was bowling a girl, and I had probably the worst look on the planet, to be honest with you, through 2 games. And I made a big jump to the right and started throwing it really fast and straight, which I hate doing. Absolutely hate. But I was like, if I'm going to have a chance, I have to do it. And so move right, start throwing my IQ tour really hard up the track, and I knew the match was close, but the stadiums have the weird scoring system that doesn't keep track at the bottom. So I looked at Coach L, I said, what do I need? He said, you need to strike. I said, okay. So I go up there, and I loved it off my hand, and I had a high flush 7 pin. And so I'm angry because he told me I need to strike.
This is single elimination as
Oh,
well,
yeah.
so yeah.
So I'm freaking out. And then I look up at the scoreboard, and my score was larger than hers. So I looked at him just angry, but to be honest, you can't really do much besides make great shots, and I think that's what he was trying to tell me. So I just try and go up there and make the best shot that I can. And when the scoring pace is a little higher, or you need something a little more, typically we go to a little bit more cleaner angular balls, just because they have a higher percentage striking. You have to be a little bit more perfect, but they do typically do that. So I'll typically get into a little bit cleaner ball. So last weekend, the scoring pace was significantly higher than the weeks before. So I got into some cleaner balls, let it shape more. Just a strike, but it's not a lot different process.
I gotcha. But now that explains why you guys left him at the Hoosier.
That's definitely why. Absolutely.
Definitely one of the favorite stories from the collegiate bowling season last year was somehow Wichita State Lady Shockers leaving Coach Hall of Famer Mark Lewis at the hotel.
We always said we wanted to do something that no other team had ever done. So that was
there you go. That's
definitely it. He'll never forget the girls who left him at the Hoosier. My legs were definitely a little sore before bowling that block, that's for sure.
I do remember that, yes. That was a few calisthenics before before the start. That's worse than missing single pins, I think.
Sometimes. But we're pretty used to it. Our practices are very much that way. It's almost like we have a workout before our workout sometimes.
And I'm a little curious about that as well, because I know within the collegiate bowling programs, the technology has grown and everything, and it's not so much just about just straight bowling. It's about building better athletes as well, and better training, conditioning, and all that. And obviously, you're still at Wichita State, so I'm guessing you have the ability to still kind of use the facilities in that way. But kind of, I know for certain programs, that's kind of part of the practice schedule, is being in the gym for X amount of time or doing this, that, the other. Now that you're kind of on your own, is that tougher to maintain that schedule, or is it still the same? Or?
Well, I'm learning how to adult. So it's been a little harder just because I don't really understand how to work from 8 to 5.
It is crazy. I agree.
I'm starting to learn. This is my first full week working 8 to 5, so we'll hope that I live through it, right? But it's a little bit more difficult, but I moved in with a roommate this year who's very focused on just getting better as a bowler. She's a senior at Wichita State, and Kayla is just really, really focused on bettering herself, and I'm excited to live with her, and we actually are creating a gym and practice schedule together.
Okay.
Just because she wants to learn more about what it's like to come out here on tour. She has bowled a few events and not done as well as she would like, so she wants to just hang out and practice and go to the gym. We joined the Stellar Gym in Wichita like 2 days ago, and they have water massages that you can do.
Water massages.
And
okay.
I'm super stoked to go home and try that. I need it after this weekend.
Good to know. Our USBC Women's Championships is heading to Wichita next year, so that would be a good selling point for our bowlers.
It definitely would be. No, Wichita has a lot of really awesome things to offer. I'm excited for the Queens to be there. Excited for it to be just, I literally could walk to the bowl from my apartment in about 3 minutes, so I'm really excited about that.
Location, location, location.
Absolutely.
All right, we are moving on to game 5 of 6 here in the round of 12. Let's see, 35 and 36 edge bowling. So here is Maria Jose Rodriguez and your tour roommate, Brianna Cote. Maria at plus 453, Brianna 442.
It's interesting because I'm looking at the rack right now and Bree's throwing a Sherlock, and that's just a earlier ball than she's been throwing the rest of the week. She threw her high road earlier on today. The first 2 games, actually. A lot of people think a high road can't be used early on, but she proved us all wrong, going to, I believe, 260, 270 with it.
Yeah,
so.
she was 530 after 2.
Oh, yeah, she nailed it. But looks like she's throwing balls a little bit earlier. And then I would guess that that's just because, like we said, there's less people on the pair. So it's not breaking down as quickly. You need a ball that's going to see the mid lane a little sooner.
Gonna just take the one here and gonna take a second to kind of prepare for this second frame, make sure she doesn't let any more frames get away.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she went back and said to her husband that she didn't like the ball reaction. So I think we're going to switch her, see her switch. She's going to switch to a phase 2, a ball that goes a little bit longer, a little smoother than a Sherlock. Bree and I are kind of in this really fortunate position to, one, be roommates and be on the same staff. So we can talk about bowling balls and what they do, but also we both throw 14 pounds.
Okay,
So,
I did not know that.
yeah, so 14-pound bowling ball numbers, so the RG and diff are just a little bit different than 15 pounds. So our phase 2 reacts a little bit different than somebody who throws a 15-pound phase 2. So it's really nice. We both drilled the same ball, we both drilled a show off going into this week, and it was nice to just be able to talk about it. But our show off is much different than Danielle's that we saw Danielle throw the past few shows that she's been on.
Interesting.
So it's very interesting, yes.
And that is something, you know, when you just looking up bowling ball information, you see that always the 14, 15, 16 with the different numbers for the RG for the diff, and always curious to, you know, obviously there's going to be some difference, but I think for a lot of folks maybe a little bit tougher to notice, but it's interesting that just being able to, you know, talk about that among your tour teammates here, that yeah, different balls give different reactions just off that purpose.
Yeah, a little bit. So coming out on tour, I had to change the kind of drillings that I put on my balls, just because college and out here on tour are way different. And because I throw 14 pounds, the tour reps would put layouts on my balls that make them want to read a little earlier, just because 14-pound balls want to go a little longer. Looks like Maria might have gotten away with one there that she didn't really like.
Speaking of it, Danielle, and a phase 2 it appears.
That's my favorite ball. When the whole world has no idea what's going on, I go to the phase 2.
I enjoy that comparison, the whole world.
That's what it feels like when you're bowling bad.
I did have a question before we started kind of getting into the 14-pound stuff. We saw Brianna go up there, make one shot with the Sherlock, and then make the change in the second frame before even throwing a shot on the left lane here. Is that from just knowing the tendencies of the bowling ball, not to give it another shot to maybe make an adjustment if that was a good shot, or was that knowing, okay, this ball's just not going to work on this pair with that, just off of one lane?
Yeah, I think she saw it read early. And I know that Bree's not a huge fan of her balls reading super early, so the minute she sees it, she gets out of it. So I don't think she wanted to risk throwing it again on that left lane, even though the left lane might have been tighter and it might have struck. Her brain just doesn't like it. And that's what's interesting out here is all of us like different shapes. So a really good example, just because she was my collegiate teammate at Wichita State, Dasha Kovalova, she really likes, we describe it as like a banana shape. She likes a really smooth arcing shape. Well, I like my ball, we joked, to make hockey sticks. I like a sharper motion than she does. So just because one person likes something doesn't mean the next one does. And a really good example is, you know, the girls on 33 and 34 right now, Laura and Danielle. Danielle likes a little bit smoother shape, while Laura likes to see more of that angular shape down lane.
And then you have to get the pins to cooperate too.
Absolutely.
That's a great shot there from Brianna. 10 pin did not agree.
We saw that happen to people a lot this week. They could get their ball to the 1-3, but how well can they get it through the pins was the real question.
This young lady on lane 30 has been pretty good at figuring that out so far. Plus 552, Jordan Richard. Still leading the way. Get you a recap here in just a second.
I bowled against her a lot growing up. We started out bowling in MJMAs together, Michigan Junior Masters Association tournaments. And this is no surprise to me at all. She's been phenomenal since we were younger, and unfortunate we didn't end up at the same university. Would have loved to have bowled with her and her sister Haley, but I'm excited to be out on tour with them. It's just really cool to go from, you know, bowling against each other all the time in the youth ranks to now being out here on tour. It's really cool, and then we're both really fortunate to be on Team USA this year. So we go to camp in 2 weeks, and I'm really excited to spend some more time with her and our other teammates.
2 weeks from now, so the U.S. Women's Open will be in the books, so be a good time to kind of recharge after 56 games and bowl more. So
yep, we'll go from 56 games to right to camp.
So taking a look at the standings, Jordan Richard plus 552 in first, 50 pins ahead of Lindsay Boomer shining plus 502, Missy Parkin plus 455, and then it gets really close. Maria plus 453, Shannon O'Keefe plus 452, Shannon Salem plus 444, Brianna plus 442, and then Danielle McEwen at plus 419.
Wow.
That is, wow.
That's very close. And this is game 4?
This is game 5, so 1 to go after this. So we're cruising right along. Maria looking to make the step ladder back-to-back weeks. She really put together a great performance last week in Louisville in that step ladder, using a different ball on each lane and taking care of a few matches before just ran into a buzzsaw with Aaron starting with 7-8 in a row, whatever it was.
Absolutely. Bree said she bowled next to Maria a lot of last week, and it was just phenomenal to watch, is what Bree was telling me. A lot of the times Bree and I are on opposite ends of the center, so we can kind of give each other the rundown of who is bowling well and why.
I got you.
That's what we do at lunch.
So lunch on qualifying day, where would we most likely find you two?
Panera or Noodles and Company. We like to carb up.
Carbs are important.
We feel like we need them before the second block, just because 16 games in one day is a lot. We love it because it's a grind. It gives a little bit more time to see transition. I know the women on tour, we love it, and the returners say they like this format a lot. So we just think we need a little bit more energy, or maybe an excuse, whichever you want to call it.
Energy, yes. Let's head over to 29:30 after her spare conversion. Just outside the top 4 right now, Shannon Salem's working on a double. It's a great shot there.
Yeah, her ball reaction looks pretty good on that pair that most people didn't like. So if she can take advantage of that, that would mean a lot.
Another ball change there for Brianna.
I think she has 2 different Sherlocks, and I believe she went to the pin down one. I don't think she thought her phase 2 was picking up soon enough. So she wanted a ball that was going to go in between her first Sherlock that she throws typically when she needs it to see it really early, and then the phase 2.
Seems like the scoring pace is kind of slowed down a little bit here compared to what we saw in the earlier block, and I think obviously a lot has to do with just less people out there, and of course the extra tension of the moment with it being so close. Obviously pins of the utmost importance right here. Really can't let anything get away at this point.
Yeah, it looks like with this re-oil, it just got flatter again. So when you miss left, it goes left, and when you miss right, it stays right. Shot making looks like it just has to be a little bit better, and maybe some different balls have come into play as well. Is right behind Danielle at 413, and she went spare 3 in a row, spare 3 in a row, so she has potential to shoot 250, 260 this game. Get her pretty close to the show going into that last game.
Of course, this year, no position round necessarily heading into that final game, so everyone just kind of continues the pace. Definitely with a different format. We had the group step ladders last year with the TV shows being off-site for standard events.
From what I've heard from the women, we really enjoy having those finals in the center. It's nice, from what I hear, to win in that center that you bowled in.
I could imagine that for a lot of reasons. Obviously, you know, and we kind of already heard it for Jordan here, that there definitely seems like to be a fan base for certain players. Obviously, we have a great crowd here in the Greater Harrisburg area. And they're actually going to be bringing in, or they're going to be moving some of the bleachers, I believe, to make the TV finals a little more exciting for everyone. But of course, the characteristics of the house probably come into a big play for most folks. I think obviously going into a brand new facility, definitely, I mean, you know the pattern, you saw the pattern, but different house, so many different variables from taking it someplace else. So definitely the whole combination of that, I think, definitely makes the win a little more sweet.
Absolutely. Actually, the fans here at Greater Harrisburg have been awesome. They've treated us very kindly, and they've been here since 8 a.m. I applaud them for that. That's awesome. It looks like Bree's going to make another ball change.
She's not having fun on 35 and 36 right now.
No, she's thinking she needs to get it to the right a little more.
Spare shooting, keeping her still in the mix, though. As long as 211 out there with a back 5, if she can find a way to make everything cooperate. That looks like one of the cleaner balls you spoke of.
Yeah, so that's the Intense Fire that was just released yesterday from Storm Products. We joke, we rode a toy fire truck last week when we drilled them. So we joke that we say fires with this ball. Put out some fires. And that was a really good shot.
I feel that would, I know with the whole campaign you guys are doing on Facebook for that, that would be one of the good profile photos of if anyone snapped one of those.
There's a video.
There's a video. Okay.
Yeah. It was kind of sad. We were on flat land.
Oh.
Needed a hill.
Certainly plenty of those in this area. That's one of the things I noticed on the drive from Syracuse. Very, very rolly, very hilly.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of that in Kansas.
Kansas, Indiana as well.
Yeah, not very hilly. We have a lot of corn and wheat. That's about it.
Oh. Tough break there for Sellens, working on strike in the 8th, stuff 8 in the 9th. Somewhere Emil Williams Jr. is secretly mad at that. So apparently he gets very upset at 8 pins and he's not even leaving them. So
My heart breaks for anyone who leaves an 8 pin.
it's just not right. Shannon will cover the spare to get to 202 now. But sure would love the opportunity at 20 extra pins here. It seems, obviously we kind of went back to 29 and 30, talking about seeming to be the last one done, right? Because folks are not scoring as high on that, but just kind of seems the overall pace is kind of someone's hit the brakes like across the entire house, and just everyone's taking a little bit more time. It's not as rapid fire as it was when we first started this round.
Yeah, I feel like it kind of happens to slow your brain down. You know, sometimes you have 1,000 thoughts going through your head at the same time. So to slow your brain down, sometimes you have to just slow down your body. I know at the Queens there were a few matches where I was bowling an opponent that would go really quickly. So I would just take a second to slow down because it was important to have my own pace and to trust myself and trust my process.
And of course, a fantastic run at Queens was definitely fun to watch.
Thank you.
What was at the end of the week, after all those matches, after kind of getting through that grind, obviously some disappointment to get that close to the show and not make it, but now that some time has passed since that experience, just what was your biggest takeaway from that overall experience in Reno?
I still don't think I'm quite sure. We haven't had a lot of time to reflect, honestly. You know, out here we go from week to week, and you just have to forget about the week before and treat each week individually. So I tried to forget about it pretty fast. It's another really good shot from Bree. But the year before in Baton Rouge, I had lost in the first round of match play as well to Clara. And I did not handle that loss well. I was ahead by 60, I believe, in my match this year against Anna Andersson from Sweden, and then ended up losing by less than 10. And the same thing happened to me the year before against Clara, and it destroyed me the year before. I was, basically done after that, just because it was so frustrating to be ahead by that much and lose. But this year I took it as just a lesson, and that it was double elimination for a reason. And went into the elimination bracket with just a different mindset to just win or be done. And I really wanted to win that tiara this year, and it was very frustrating not to, for sure. But gave me a lot of fire. I've been working hard on a lot of things I learned from the Queens, just about my physical game and myself and my mentality. And I'm hoping it pays off. I really like the majors just because of how long they feel. I understand that they're about as long as our standard event formats, but the longer format, I just really like it. So I'm looking forward to some more of the longer format tournaments.
And over the course of more games, obviously, definitely gives the opportunity to kind of let top players and top shot makers kind of make their way through the field, kind of weather those storms, and once again get back to patience. It really allows you to kind of sit back and take advantage of your moments when they're there.
Yeah, the guy who drills my stuff back home is Ed Tackett. It's EJ Tackett's dad. He always jokes around with me ever since I was little. I never really shot 250 or 260, but I would just shoot 220 over and over and over again. So the more games that you gave me, those 220s added up. So I appreciate those long formats for that reason.
220 machine, Sid the Kid.
Yeah, Bree and I joke around when I shoot over 230. It's really exciting.
You need those hits along the way, too.
Those are my favorite.
But we'll see how big that 10-11 pins ends up being in the grand scheme of things here.
Yeah, I think she went Brooklyn in the night, too. So that adds up. Makes a three-bagger. It's awesome. I got yelled at by Matt Farber for calling it a three-bagger last week, so a turkey.
Wait, say that all again? I just saw Farber. I'm going to yell at him next time I see him.
Yeah, no. He told me that it's not a three-bagger, but it's called a turkey. He said that's why I don't get them a lot, because I call them the wrong thing.
Farber.
I know it.
That kid. Got to see him this week, actually. He was in Syracuse Bowl in the Open Championship, so. All right, just like that, game 30 of 30. As soon as we have an update on scores through 29 games, we will let you know. Kathy Waka always does a great job of getting those compiled quickly.
That's one thing I don't think we say enough out here is just how great our tournament staff is. They do a phenomenal job running this tournament very smoothly.
Certainly between Tennille, Kathy Waka, Kathy Kavicki, Jason Thomas, Emil. Definitely a lot goes on with just a few people, so that's pretty awesome. But shout out to a lot of good folks at in Arlington, Texas as well, who kind of may not necessarily here week to week, but also add to the overall experience, whether it's the marketing or creative team with some of the looks out here. Got the masking units up there, and just a lot of folks put in a lot of time, so thank you to all those folks. Hopefully they are enjoying their weekend. All right, just like that, scores are updated. Jordan Richard plus 561 in the lead. Shannon O'Keefe moves into second, plus 477. Maria Jose Rodriguez plus 476. Lindsay Boomer shine. That's the farthest she has fallen so far today. Now in fourth place, plus 471. Liz Culkin, first player out, plus 459. Missy Parkin, 452. Shannon Salem, 443. Brianna Cote, 431. Josie Barnes, 428. Danielle McEwen, 425. So less than 50 pins from 10th to 4th.
And Liz started out this game with a double.
Jordan Richard off to a strong start with an early double of her own, so just a matter of formality before looks like she'll be our top seed for tonight's stepladder final, taking place at 5 p.m. Eastern right here on Bowl TV on Extra Frame. Saw Shannon Salem's on this pair in game 8 of the last block. Shoot 220 to make her way into the top 12. In search of another big game. Usually 2, 4, 5, 7, 8 here in the early going after early three-bagger. Josie Barnes gets the break. On that 9 pin over on 34. That is not a fun spare to shoot at any time. So nice cover there, Shannon. To 29 and 30. Brianna looking for an early double. Looks like she's stuck with that ball we saw her finish with. Found a nice look here early on at 29-30. Maria, an early open. Currently the third overall. I honestly do not recall last time a tournament was this close that like didn't have everyone going for like the 64, the cut number for something like that. So some actually for TV.
It's close. It tends to be that the top four kind of separate themselves from everyone else, but not this week. It's almost like anything could happen depending on what pair people are on.
Definitely think this is where the notes that we spoke of come in very handy one last time, just to, okay, what did I see on 29-30 in the 3 times I hit it? Because you don't have 4 or 5 frames at this point to kind of settle into a pair.
Absolutely, knowing that maybe 29 is 1.5, tighter than 30. A lot of really good information to have.
Three out of 4 for Liz Culkin, but the split in the 3rd frame gives it the little extra kick to get out the 10. I think another player who kind of fits the style that you described earlier when kind of looking at the top of the leaderboard after the first round, a player who can kind of soften up her ball speed a little bit, get around it, kind of go around the pattern a little bit more. Back to 29 and 30. Danielle McCune with an early 4-bagger. She's probably the last person, or she was in 10th, 425, so she had the furthest to go. At this point, Laura Plazas and Erin McCarthy just a little bit too far back, even with a monster finish.
Nice light mixer there to make it 4 in a row.
And we're definitely hitting the you never know what can happen point of this broadcast. A little bit further back, plus 431, but would 260 be enough?
You never know.
Maria not liking lane 30 at the moment. Seeing herself potentially fall out of the top 3 here. Lindsay Boomer Shine, fairly strong start. After that early 4-bagger, back-to-back 5 counts for Danielle McCune. Shannon O'Keefe, nothing too crazy so far. I'd say the same for Missy Parkin, Josie Barnes. No doubles yet. So right now, Brianna really the only player who's kind of made an early impact here in this final game.
It looks like it'll really just be important to watch that pair with Maria with 2 opens through 5.
Culkin has slowed down after 4 out of 5. Let's take a look at Shannon Salem's here. Her 7th frame, still clean. That is a nice shot right there. Open in the 6th frame for Lindsay Boomer Shine. How about a Cote here? Talk about the just the resilience you need after what could only be described as a not fun game number 5, trying about 16 different bowling balls. Finding a late double and then having to go to a new pair and saying, okay, I need to find a way to shoot 240 to 260.
And it's on this pair that everybody else didn't like.
Yes, to add that onto everything else. Mixed them up at 14 pounds, delivering the hit.
14 pounds of fury, that's what we say.
Fury, I like that. 6 in a row. There's no one else really seizing the opportunity right now. Oh, that might be it for Maria. It's a big double there from Shannon. Liz Culkin can still get to 221 this game. It's a fantastic shot to start that journey. No washout, but goes away a few pins in count. Gonna drop her max to 218. Back to Culkin, her 9th frame. Does not roll the 2, drops her max down to 201 now.
Shannon's made a lot of really tough spares on this pair.
She has. That's 5, 6, 2 7s. One of them was split.
We have another split for Maria on the 8th.
Jordan Reed's going to be, or Jordan Richard, excuse me, is going to be our top seed for the step ladder. Everything else still to be determined. Brianna Cote. Somehow everyone's finishing at the same time too, so that's kind of had worked a way in where everyone was kind of staggered finish now. All the fun math gets to happen at the same time. When you're in a format like this, it's game 30 of 30. We're coming down the stretch here. How do you just find it to make a quality shot when you can after that many games? Just what drives you? What pushes you? What where do you find that extra energy just to deliver in a situation like this?
I know for me, I spend a lot of time when I'm at home visualizing, you know, winning that first title. So for me, especially at the Queens, after bowling a lot of games, bowling that 8th match to make the round of 4, I spent a lot of time just sitting there with my eyes closed, visualizing, you know, winning that match to get on to the next one to hopefully eventually win the tiara. And I would imagine that some of these other women are feeling the same way. You know, visualizing making that one great shot to make the show, or that one great shot to win that first title or your second title is all the motivation that you need.
Definitely digging deep. Here's a Brianna. 9th frame. That's going to need some help. Oh. 269 is still out there. So Lindsay Boomer Shine can get to 225, which would put her at 496. Erin's done. Danielle can max out at 215, so she's not going to be able to make it. Maria's at 171 max score, so she is probably going to not have enough to get there. Shannon O'Keefe and Missy Parkin. Missy can get to 193. Shannon can get to 203. Cote is in position just to almost mark here. She's going to put herself in a spot where no one else can reach her. Sellens finishes with a 193 for 436. I think the finish to this O'Keefe Parkin might determine our fourth player. Liz Culkin can max out at 190, so that would put her at plus 449. Lindsay Boomer is going to be on the show. She got that double in the 10th, so she's going to be in the plus 490 range. Of course, our top seed, Jordan Richard, making her first championship round appearance. This is off screen, unfortunately. Actually, it's on 31. You can see Shannon get up to the line. This is her first shot of the 10th. I think she needs one more just like that to solidify. If she went 9 spare here, that'd be 181. That'd be 458. So maybe just a mark there was all she needed. So O'Keefe finishes with 180, so 457. Missy Parkin can only go 193, so she can't improve. Liz Culkin will fall short. Brianna Cote has done enough already, so unofficially it looks like our stepladder, Jordan Richard, Lindsay Boomer, Brianna Cote, and Shannon O'Keefe. We'll wait for the official call from Tennille, but Sydney, tell us about your roommate here. That was impressive to dig deep in that situation and put together that type of effort.
Yeah, she's got a lot of heart. It's awesome to room with. Really, really awesome. I know she probably wants to throw a few of those a little bit better than what she did. But I think she wasn't quite sure that she made the show until that last one. So I'm really happy for her, and hopefully our room can be a happy one this weekend.
Making shows definitely makes it happy, and for Bree, this will be her 3rd championship round appearance of the season. The first 2 came as the top seed. Unfortunately, a pair of runner-up finishes, but she'll get the opportunity to be the one running up the ladder here. Once again, unofficially, it appears it's going to be Jordan Richard, our top seed, Lindsay Boomer, the number 2 seed, Brianna Cote, number 3, and Shannon O'Keefe, number 4.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes round 4 of the PWBA Greater Harrisburg Open. How about all these ladies a big round of applause? At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce to you your top 4 for the PWBA Greater Harrisburg Open Stepladder Finals. We're going to start with our number 4 seed from O'Fallon, Illinois, Shannon O'Keefe. And her opponent in the opening match, our number 3 qualifier from Red Rock, Arizona, Brianna Cote. The winner of that match will go on to face our number 2 qualifier from Perry, Utah, Lindsay Boomer. And the winner of that match will face our tournament leader, a Rookie of the Year candidate, our leader from Tipton, Michigan, Jordan Richard. today and your support of the PWBA. Make sure to return this evening at 5 o'clock for the exciting conclusion. We're going to crown a news champion. So thank you all very much for coming. We will start seating at approximately 4:15. So at this time, I'm going to ask everybody in the building to please exit down, past lanes 20, head out to the low end. We need to clear out this area so we can create a TV show atmosphere. If we can't create that, there will be no TV show. All right, so thank you guys very much for your cooperation. And there'll be a line starting at about 4 o'clock down that clear lanes 20.
Well, just like that, Tennille Milligan laying down the law, clear out or there's no TV show. So, but that's going to do it. Our top 4 in an hour and a half are going to face off here on Bull TV on Extra Frame. Jordan Richard, Lindsay Boomer, Brianna Cote, and Shannon O'Keefe. Thank you, Sydney Brummett, for joining us. I know who you're going to be rooting for in the next few games. But any final thoughts before we sign off here?
No, just thank you guys for listening.
All right, fantastic. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. So on behalf of the tournament staff, Tennille Milligan, Kathy Waka, Kathy Kavicki, Jason Thomas, Jason McEwen, I'm Aaron Smith. And we're going to sign off for just a little bit here from ABC West Lanes. The stepladder finals of the PWBA Greater Harrisburg Open at ABC West Lanes will be taking place at 5 p.m. Eastern right here on Extra Frame. So thanks again for stopping by. We'll be back to crown a champion here in Greater Harrisburg. Thanks again, and we will see you soon on Extra Frame.